Alright, people, our favorite giant lizard, Godzilla, is here this week. And will he come out on top? Who knows? Let's talk about it. So let's get it.
Welcome to the Kaiba Show.
Alright, so Godzilla, King of the Monsters is starring Millie Bobby Brown, Vera Farmiga, Kyle Chandler, and is directed by Michael Dougherty. And basically the premise of this movie, we have this agency that's kind of working with the government called the Monarch. And they're basically the overseers of like the 17 or 18 monsters that are scattered throughout the earth. And something horribly goes wrong and, they get awakened. And once again, Godzilla has to come to save the day. And that's pretty much the premise of the movie without me giving away too much. And let's go straight into what worked for the movie. Obviously, when you get big, gigantic, like World Trade Center tall monsters fighting it out, it's great for action sequences and stuff like that. So the visuals of the movie was pretty, stunning. The CGI, Godzilla and all the other creatures, Mothra, that were in the movie, and countless other ones. They were really, really good. And like I just mentioned before, obviously the big bad battles with all the monsters that Godzilla and other creatures fought against, because it just wasn't Godzilla. Other creatures were fighting other creatures in this movie. So that stuff was what pretty like stood out for the movie. So if you go into this movie, want to see like big kaiju fight scenes, like stuff like Pacific Rim status, you're highly going to be excited and overjoyed with the fight sequences in this movie, because that's what this movie is made for. The big bad fight scenes and stunts and stuff like that. And I feel like out of all the stuff, that's pretty much the stuff that stood out for me that worked for the movie. All right, so let's talk about what didn't work for the movie. And, there's quite a few things that didn't work for the movie with me. First up, let's talk about the story. The story was okay. It was kind of bland. It just felt generic. It just felt like something was missing. It's been about 5 years since the first Godzilla movie, the first remake movie back in 2014. And it just felt like they didn't polish the script. So if this script was either the first or second draft, there's no way this was the final draft. So nothing against the actors that were in this movie, because, the dialogue in this movie wasn't great. But for this movie to be 5 years later, they should have just did a way better job, because the characters were not fleshed out. So when you have this type of movie, or you have, big creatures fighting it out, you need good human element to the story too, to help make the story go along. And for a lot of the characters in the movie, they just felt like they were thrown at us, and there wasn't good character development. You just felt like for some of the characters, like, why are you even here? It really just felt like the movie could have just went on without some of them in it. So it was just like, oh, you're just a placeholder. That's what it felt like. And I hate stuff like that in movies where there's certain characters that are pointless and they don't feel fleshed out. So even with some of the main characters, it was just like, we just need to do a better job at developing these characters so that we have an emotional connection. Because if a lot of these characters died in movies like this, you don't care when they die. So that's the part that sucks. And then because the story wasn't 100% there, I can't 100% blame the actors. This movie totally reminded me of King Kong, Skull Island. I think that's what it's called. But you guys know a movie I'm talking about from 2 years ago, where, yes, the action scenes are good, but the story isn't 100% there. The dialogue sucks. You have good actors in the movie, but because the dialogue sucks, it makes them kind of look bad. And I got the same vibe with this movie. And there were some decent actors in this movie. And unfortunately, I love Millie Bobby Brown, but I wasn't 100% sold on her in this movie. It was almost like she's typecasting me now. Like, all I could see her as being, the weird kid with the powers in Stranger Things. Like, there were certain scenes in this movie where I was not feeling her acting. Kyle Chandler, the same thing. And these are people that are pretty decent actors, but I just think because the script wasn't 100% there, most of the time in the movie, you just was like, all right, can we get to Godzilla? Like, I'm over these people and whatever's taking place right now. I want to get back to the fight, and that's a problem for me because I want a well balanced movie, and I feel like those were the elements that didn't work for me in this movie. So with that being said, let's just get straight to it. On a Kaiba scale of 1 to 10, Godzilla King of the Monsters, I'm gonna give it a soft 7. That the few action sequences at the end saved the movie from being a 6.5. But I'm gonna give it a soft 7 because the story is just 100% not there. Basically, this movie is all action, is just for pure entertainment. So if that's what you want, you're gonna love this movie. You're gonna eat it up. You're gonna think it's like a 9. But if you're like me and you want a well balanced movie, you're gonna think the movie is okay. So my recommendation is seeing it during matinee. And if you're a fan of Godzilla, I'm a fan of Godzilla. I grew up on Godzilla, watching Godzilla, the old classic Godzilla movies with the freaking subtitles, or no, not the subtitles, the voiceovers, the Japanese versions. Those are the movies I grew up in watching with my father. So if you're a hardcore Godzilla fan, definitely it's going to be worth buying it on Blu-ray. Um, but yeah, see it during matinee. I don't think it's worth regular admission. So if you like what you see and you want to see more, please hit the subscribe button. After doing that, hit the bell button so you get notified every time I upload a video. And leave a comment at the bottom. Let me know what you think of this movie and hit the like button.